Help me reach my goal and subscribe. And hit the bell icon.
Chapter 68-86. The captain immediately wanted to press the call button on the communicator to ask for help from his teammates. But he realized at this time that his hand was inexplicably unable to move. He instantly broke out in a cold sweat, looked at Charlie and asked nervously, "Who are you? Is this your doing?" Charlie sneered and said disdainfully, "This is not your grandfather's doing. It's your grandfather's magic." After that, he frowned slightly, his face full of murderous intent, and shouted sternly, "Tell me, who are you? What are you doing here? If you speak well, I will give you a quick death. If you waste my time, I will make sure you suffer more on the path to death." The man immediately shouted angrily, "I don't care who you are. You can't ask a word from me. If you don't believe me, just come over and try." Charlie said disdainfully, "You are a piece of trash. Are you worthy of my efforts?" After that, Charlie took out a room card from his pocket, flicked his wrist lightly, and the aura wrapped around the room card flew out at high speed. The room card wrapped in aura is so sharp that it can cut iron like mud. And the surrounding aura is like a barrier, protecting the room card from any harm. The room card passed through the air, making a sound of breaking through the air, and with a swish, it circled around the man and cut off both of his arms from the shoulders. The man suddenly revealed a bowl-sized scar on both sides of his shoulders, and blood gushed out like two bursting fire sprinklers, splashing the surrounding people with hot, sticky, sweet, and fishy blood all over their bodies and faces. What's even more amazing is that the room card was not stained with any blood, and it passed a white shadow in the air and returned to Charlie's hand. At this time, Charlie's cultivation had greatly improved after being destroyed by Maria's ring and the four-sided treasure tower. Although the soul-piercing blade was gone, he could use anything to replace it. Even a small room card could be used to kill thousands of troops. These people had never seen such an incredible scene, and they were scared out of their wits. The man whose arms were cut off was in so much pain that he almost fainted. He wanted to shout to relieve the pain, but his throat seemed to be stuck by an invisible big hand. He could only whimper like a dying old dog. When the manager saw this scene, his whole body twitched violently for a while, and then he rolled his eyes and fell to the ground and fainted. Charlie ignored the manager and the man whose arms were cut off. Instead, he looked at the other guys with blood on their faces and said coldly, "I'll give you a chance now. Do you want to answer the questions honestly?" One of them blurted out, "Brother, spare my life. I'll tell you. I'll tell you everything." The others echoed, "I'm willing to tell you. I'm willing to tell you." Charlie looked at the others and said calmly, "It's too late. I just want one person alive." After that, he threw the room card out again, and in the blink of an eye, he cut the throats of these people, and they fell to the ground and died instantly. The only survivor was so scared that he wet his pants. Although he killed people like crazy on weekdays, he had never seen such a horrible scene. In his eyes, Charlie's killing method was comparable to the Shura of hell. And this style of killing people without blinking an eye, without any nonsense, and without any procrastination, was more terrifying than the god of death. He was so terrified that he could only pee uncontrollably while trembling and saying, We are mercenaries hired by the Black Water. We came here to help the Syrian opposition assassinate Hamid. And by the way, create a terrorist attack. And then throw dirty water on Wanlong Hall. Charlie thought that these people were here to assassinate Tawana. And also thought that these people were here to assassinate Bernard. But he didn't expect that these people were actually here to assassinate Hamid. Moreover, they were hired by the opposition. What he couldn't imagine was that they not only wanted to kill Hamid, but also wanted to throw dirty water on the terrorist attack on Cataclysmic Front. He frowned and asked, do they just want to kill Hamid? If they kill Hamid, can they take down his generals, soldiers, and garrisons? The other party quickly explained, this time the opposition is secretly cooperating with a senior official under Hamid. As long as Hamid is killed, he can launch a rebellion in the army and lead some soldiers to join the opposition. At that time, they can take down the entire base with internal and external cooperation. Charlie nodded, thinking about the cruelty and viciousness of this move. If their plan succeeds this time, not only can they get Hamid's base and recruit his army, but they can also force Cataclysmic Front to become a terrorist organization in the eyes of the world. At that time, they can even unite Blackwater to attack the Cataclysmic Front. If they drive the front out, they will kill two birds with one stone. Moreover, since Blackwater is involved in this matter, it must have a deep bond with the opposition. It is very likely that after driving Cataclysmic Front away, they plan to occupy the Magpie's Nest. Hamid said yesterday that the opposition recognized the previous agreement between the Cataclysmic Front and the government. He didn't expect that these people were actually planning to rob. Charlie felt a little disgusted. He hated people who were untrustworthy, treacherous, and stabbed in the back the most. If the opposition did this, if they were not taught a lesson, the large amount of infrastructure invested by the Cataclysmic Front there might become a wedding dress for others. Thinking of this, he suddenly came up with an idea. Since they have to kill two birds with one stone, he will let them shoot themselves in the foot. Blackwater, you are falling into your grandfather's hands today. You can only blame yourself for not having eyes. Chapter 68-87. In the bar, the leader of the men in black was unwilling to just sit there and wait for the signal to be restored. He looked at Tavanna several times. The tall and well-proportioned girl immediately made him have evil thoughts. Originally, today was going to create a terrorist incident that would shock the world. So he knew that he didn't need to restrain his bestiality at all. So, he came to her and said with a smile, Miss Sweet, I didn't expect that I would see you here today. You are my idol and goddess in my mind. And I have liked you for a long time. Tavanna said nervously, then can you let me go? I just came here for vacation and don't want to die. The leader of the men in black looked at Tavanna frivolously and said with a smile, Miss Sweet, to be honest with you, what we are doing today is a terrorist act. For me, of course, the bigger the better. It happens that you, a big star, are here too. Now, how can I miss such a good opportunity? Tavanna was nervous when she heard this. Trembling all over, she choked and said, If you want money, I can give you all my money. I beg you not to hurt me. The leader of the men in black laughed obscenely and said, Miss Sweet, I've heard that you are very open to feelings. I wonder if you are willing to join me in broadcasting a full-scale adult show to netizens all over the world when the network is restored later. Tawana shook her head frantically in fear, tears kept falling out, and she cried, I beg you, don't do that to me. I don't want the person I love to see me in that unbearable image for the last time. At this time, Tawana already knew that she and the people around her would not survive tonight. These people are not bandits or pirates, they are terrorists. There is no way for anyone to survive in the hands of such people. What she is afraid of now is not death. But the devil in front of her will really defile her in front of netizens all over the world. If Charlie sees her in that image, she will not be able to close her eyes even if she dies. When the leader of the men in black heard her mention the person she loved, he snorted and sneered, "You don't want others to see it. But I want the whole world to see it. I want the whole world to see how you are conquered." At this point, his expression gradually became ferocious. And he said with a cruel smile, "Not only that, I will also let the people of the whole world see with their own eyes how I kill you. I want them to watch with their own eyes their idols and goddesses being destroyed and withered little by me until they die." Tawana stared into the other's eyes and shouted at the top of her lungs, "You are a devil. DMN devil." The leader of the men in black laughed. "You're right. I'm the devil. If you fall into my hands, I will make you wish you were dead." After that, he suddenly raised his eyebrows and smiled, saying, "Miss Sweet, I have a lot of energy in that aspect. It seems that there is no need for us to wait for the network to be restored. Why don't we get to know each other here in front of everyone and try it first, so that my official debut will be more perfect?" Tawana was so scared that she wanted to kill herself on the spot. Her parents almost collapsed and rushed over frantically to protect her behind them. But they were forced back by several men in black with guns. Chapter 68-88. The leader said sternly, "From now on, if anyone makes any unnecessary movements, I will just shoot them in the head." Tavanna's parents did not dare to act rashly for a while, and could only squat on the spot and hug each other and sob. Tavanna was completely desperate at this time. She had realized that she and her parents would not have any chance to leave here alive today. Last time in Tokyo, Charlie rescued her. This time in the Maldives, there would definitely be no such miracle again. At this time, the man in black lost some patience. He grabbed Tavanna's collar and said coldly, "Come, let me try what it feels like to be an international superstar first." After that, he was about to tear the shirt off. At this time, the communicator in his ears suddenly heard several electric current sounds and noises, as if someone pressed the call button but did not speak, and soon released the button. He frowned, thinking that a team member was calling him. But the signal was interfered with. Teams 1, 2, and 3 were all on guard outside. The only one who might have gone far was the person sent out to repair the signal. So he immediately took out his mobile phone and took a look. He kept waiting for the signal strength mark to appear in the signal bar in the upper right corner. But after waiting for a long time, there was still no change. He pressed the communication button in annoyance and said in a cold voice, "Old shoe, why hasn't the signal been restored yet? I want to broadcast a good show live to netizens all over the world." There was silence in the communicator. His brows knitted instantly, and he felt a little uneasy. The old shoe he was looking for was the captain whose arms were cut off and throat was slit by Charlie. He has worked with old shoe for many years. This person has always been steady and reliable, and has never lost contact during a mission. Even the situation of being slow to react has never happened. Whenever he called him in the communicator, he would reply, "Received," at the earliest possible time. Not being able to receive Old Shoe's reply from the intercom for the first time made him alert immediately. So he immediately stood up and walked out while pressing the intercom. Team 1, go find Old Shoe and see what situation they are in. Why don't they reply? He thought that there would be a reply from Team 1 in the communicator. But unexpectedly, there was still deathly silence on the other end of the communicator. He suddenly became nervous and stopped walking. Then, he suppressed his fear and pressed the call button again. Team 2, Team 3, reply. Team 2 and Team 3 were also the teams he arranged to guard outside. Including Team 1, there were a total of 30 people. However, he never expected that any of the 30 people would reply. At this time, only the last 6 people from Team 4 were left by his side. Captain Shoe and the 3 soldiers, who had just gone out together, were completely out of contact. He felt a little scared and whispered to a man in black beside him, "Go out and see what's going on outside." The man in black, who was named, was a little nervous. But he didn't dare to disobey. He could only muster up his courage and walk out of the bar. Just as he walked to the door, he suddenly stopped at the door and stood there motionless. The leader of the men in black saw him stop at the door and shouted at his back, "What are you doing? Go and see what's going on." As soon as he finished speaking, the man's head suddenly fell off his shoulders and rolled to the feet of the leader. Chapter 68-89. In the bar, the tourists who were controlled were also scared out of their wits. A healthy person just walked to the door, and his head fell to the ground. This was simply unbelievable. The leader was also scared, and his face turned pale. He subconsciously stepped back and blurted out, "Quick! There are enemies." The few remaining armed men immediately became extremely nervous. They raised their guns and stared at the door vigilantly, fearing that thousands of troops would rush in from outside. The leader was completely panicked. He left 3 teams outside and sent several people from the 4th team to deal with it. If they all met with an accident, he would surely die today. Thinking of this, he immediately pointed his gun at Tawana and shouted, "Who is she? Get out of here. Otherwise, I will shoot her." After that, he said to several of his men, "Don't point your guns at the door, but at the hostages around you. Listen to my orders. When I say shoot, kill everyone." When the hostages around heard this, they screamed in fear. The leader of the men in black was about to shout, but suddenly found that the hostages around him seemed to lose consciousness collectively in an instant. And they all fainted on the spot. He and his men fell into a trance and confusion for a while. They originally thought that these people must have discussed it and wanted to pretend to be dead. But then they thought that these people had been under their noses all the time. So, how could they have had the opportunity to collude? Could it be that they all fainted when they heard that they would point the guns at them? But isn't this pace and movement too unified? The leader of the men in black was bewildered. But he found that not all the hostages were unconscious. There were 3 people who were awake at the scene. One was Tawana, one was Hamid, and the other was the wealthy Bertnard Arno. The leader of the men in black was puzzled. He looked at the 3 people and asked, "Why didn't you 3 faint?" Tawana didn't understand why her parents seemed to lose consciousness like everyone else. She could only honestly say, I don't know." The leader of the men in black looked at Hamid and gritted his teeth and said, "Hamid, you didn't faint either. Tell me honestly, do you have anything to do with this matter?" Hamid was also very confused, but he was calm at this time. He pretended to be surprised and asked, "Who are you, and how do you know my real name?" The man in black said angrily, "Now that things have come to this, I won't hide anything from you. Our target this time is just killing you. You gave up your good job as a local emperor in the Middle East and came here for vacation. Now you have made a mess of us. I really want to shoot you." A subordinate immediately said, "Boss, what are we still hesitating about? Just kill this bastard. Kill him and our mission will be half completed." The man in black said coldly, "I don't need you to teach me how to do things. There are mysterious enemies outside that we don't know. We must keep these people as hostages to have a chance to survive." For the leader of the man in black, today's mission is to make money, not to sacrifice. Although the entire Blackwater is extremely large and has countless mercenaries under its command, everyone has never talked about so-called loyalty. Everyone puts their heads on the belt and joins the company in order to make money, not to become a martyr. Chapter 68-90. So, at this point, he no longer cares whether he can complete the mission. He only cares whether he can leave here alive. If he kills Hamid, he will lose a very important bargaining chip. So he will not make such a stupid mistake. Then, he pointed the gun at Bernard and asked sternly, "What about you? What's wrong with you? Why aren't you unconscious?" Bernard Arnault looked around and evaded, hesitating. I don't know what's going on." The leader of the men in black pointed his gun at the woman, who had collapsed on the ground beside Bernard. The woman was Bernard's wife. Then, he said angrily, "You don't know, right? Well, I'll shoot your wife and see if someone is pretending." After that, he was about to pull the trigger without any hesitation. At this moment, a cold voice suddenly came from outside the door. "Always pointing the gun at these old, weak, women and children. What kind of ability is it?" The leader of the men in black turned his head subconsciously and saw a young man slowly walking in from outside the door. The man was wearing short-sleeved shorts with coconut tree patterns printed on them, a pair of flip-flops on his feet, and a disdainful smile on his face. When Tawana saw this figure, she felt like a god descending from heaven. She choked with disbelief and said, "Mr. Wade. Is it really you, Mr. Wade?" As she spoke, tears instantly filled her eyes, so that she couldn't see Charlie's appearance at all. Hamid was so excited that he almost jumped up on the spot, and said excitedly, "Brother Wade, you are finally here, Brother Wade. These bastards are here to assassinate me. And they just claim to be from the Cataclysmic Front. I suspect that they will not only target me, but also the Cataclysmic Front." Bernard also recognized Charlie at this time. He didn't know Charlie's true identity, but he had a deep memory of Charlie's face, and even hated him, because it was he who brought Irvin, who sold fake paintings, to force himself to buy hundreds of millions of dollars of garbage as the matching goods for the auction of the rejuvenation pill. But he never dreamed that he would meet this young man on his own island. Moreover, it seems that Tawana also knows this young man. Thinking of the sudden change and the terrorists' instant panic, he realized that Charlie might be the key to changing the situation. So he quickly said, Mr. Wade, Mr. Wade, long time no see, Mr. Wade. Charlie smiled and said, Mr. Arno, long time no see. I wonder if those luxury stores under your name are still doing distribution sales recently. Bernard dodged Charlie's eyes awkwardly. Distribution is definitely necessary. His luxury brand makes money by distribution. Although he suffered a big loss because of the distribution last time he bought the rejuvenation pill. In comparison, his distribution is a universal distribution for global consumers. So the income he gets from the distribution must be more. So, how could he cut off his own financial path just because he suffered a loss once? On the contrary, he now requires them to intensify their distribution policy and make up for the money he spent before and after buying the rejuvenation pill. So, he said to Charlie awkwardly, I'm not sure whether the goods are matched or not. But Mr. Wade, don't worry. No matter which brand of goods under our group you like, you can enjoy the free bill policy. Charlie sarcastically said, You are so stingy. If I go to your store and take things without paying, you will probably not be able to sleep for 3 days and 3 nights, right? Bernard was embarrassed to answer. The leader of the men in black didn't expect Charlie to chat with the hostages. He immediately pointed his gun at him and asked, Who are you? What did you do to my men?